love the channel and find it useful in becoming a happy retiree. Subscribe today. Brad joins us from Atlanta. Brad, good morning. Welcome to Money Matters. What's going on? How can I help?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm trying to build an income portfolio, like I've heard you recommend, and I'm wondering how much of that portfolio should be in MLPs. Is this a good time to buy them, and if so, which one?
Yeah, so here's a couple of thoughts. The MLP sector it's been tough. It really has been a tough sector from a price perspective. And what happened is you go back about 5 or 6 years, or let's go back even a little further than that, as energy prices were booming. Remember when oil was going to go to 100, and then gas was going to go to $5 a gallon, and now oil wasn't just going to go to 100, but it was going to go to 150. And that was the talk of the day. We used to do show after show about energy because every analyst on the planet said, hey, oil's never going down again. Well, that obviously didn't happen. And oil prices, during that run-up, MLP companies, which are supposed to be really simple businesses, Brad, they're supposed to be, look, really simple. We're going to build 10,000 miles of pipe here, and it's going to take oil or some sort of fossil fuel from one state all the way down through 5 states to a refinery so that we can refine it and move it from another get it in another form. And it's a pretty simple business. You build the infrastructure, you borrow the money to do it, you know what contracts are going to be, you charge 50 different companies. You get these long-term 5, 6, 10-year contracts to move the fossil fuel through the pipe. And effectively, you run a toll business, which can be a pretty simple and pretty good business. The MLPs got really greedy, Brad, and they started to go from pipelines and storage to exploration and production and putting up their own wells and their own operations for this. And that's a really cyclical business. If you do that, it's great if oil's at 20 and you're an E&P and it goes to 100. It's terrible when you all of a sudden set up an operation when oil's at 100 and then it goes back to $25 a barrel. And remember, it wasn't that long ago that happened. And that's why you see these MLP companies get so burned and prices get hit so significantly. So they went through a period of time, let's call it a couple years ago, where they got, let's call it a lot of religion. And they got out of the cyclical businesses that they shouldn't have been in to begin with when they got burned for. And they're back to becoming just these toll road operations again. So they've cleaned up their balance sheets. They have cleaned up their business models to go back to a more simple, straightforward business. And a lot of them have actually been able to maintain their dividends pretty significantly. There are a few that have cut. You've heard some fairly high-profile cuts like Kinder Morgan. But a lot of these companies have actually maintained their dividends really well. Because there's still a lot of risk within the space, Brad, there are a couple that I own in broad terms. I own 2 different ETFs or ETNs. One of them is MLPI, which is a pretty broad, that tracks a broad range of pipeline and energy companies. And the other one is EMLP that I own that has, again, pipeline companies, but also some of the utility companies that are tangential to energy. Or a little more energy focused. So those are to me, that's the safest way to play it. It's still a really risky space. It still produces a lot of income, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 7% a year for some of these MLP companies. I choose to play it with a couple of these broader ETFs, EMLP and MLPI are 2 of the or ETFs and ETNs. That to me is the safest way to play a fairly risky space. Hi, I'm Wes Moss, and thanks for taking a minute to hear about what's so different about my new book, You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. So unlike other retirement books, this book will give you a step-by-step guide, whether you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s, to learn from what these successful and happy retirees did to get there. I hope you enjoy the book, but more importantly, I know that it'll help you retire sooner than you think.